Hi everyone, I'm going to do a bit of a different video. It's a kind of a mixed thing that you can probably imagine at the moment with everything going on. But I thought I'd come back today and carry on from what I left yesterday with a rather long video. I'll make one a little bit shorter this time. I wanted to try and combine everything this time around, not just be talking about the crisis and the coronavirus that we're suffering, but also looking at it from a writer's and then an artist's perspective in multiple ways because our world, with this lockdown, with the changes we've seen, has changed quite significantly. We're currently on day 8 of the Spanish lockdown where I'm living. I'm living in the south of Spain near Gibraltar, for those of you who are not aware. And we've been told by the government today that we're going to be under lockdown until at least the 11th of April or thereabouts. So we'll wait and see. My personal prediction at the moment is we're looking at the end of April, beginning to middle of May, is what I'm anticipating. But we'll wait and see. What do I know? I'm just someone who reads a lot and doesn't really know. But we shall definitely see how we do that. So I'm just plugging my phone in so it's got some charge left. So what do I want to talk about today, really? Obviously, the main thing is that things are continuing, and the amount of cases here in Spain are somewhere in the region of 1,800 infected people. We've had about 2,500 people have recovered, and unfortunately, now what we're talking about, 2,800 people are actually infected. About 2,500 people have recovered, and we've lost up until this point nearly 1,800 people, and we have well over 1,000 people still in intensive care. It's not a simple thing, and obviously filling in today. Obviously, I've got my daily routine here at the moment, more or less. I've got two toddlers, both girls, 3 and a bit years old each, and for them, it's all a kind of a holiday for them because they're not in nursery, they're not going to school yet anyway, so they don't know the difference. They're just happily and joyfully playing and fighting as they do every single day. Anyone who's had a sister or who's had a brother knows how it works, that you fight. And these two do over toys, over mommy or daddy's affection, or over all kinds of things. And I've been thinking about this recently, that I'm not used to, because I'm used to going out 4 or 5 days a week and being out most of the day while my wife is here looking after them when she's not working. And their indefatigable energy is quite tiring at times, especially when I'm working from home. And I'm sure you know how that works. When one is working from home, trying to convince the children that mommy or daddy is not able to play with them because mommy or daddy is working. It's a concept that they don't get. It's completely alien to them. They knock on the door, they shout through the door at me, they try and attract my attention when I'm unfortunately otherwise engaged trying to earn a living. And though that living I'm earning for them directly, they don't see it that way. But what can one do? It's a challenge, but it's a challenge I'm prepared to face. It's a series of inconveniences I'm prepared to take and handle because what other alternative is there? There really isn't one. It's pretty much knuckle down and deal with it, or not knuckle down and have to deal with it anyway. We've had this conversation. I was talking to my parents earlier on today. I'm always checking in on them because they live about 4 hours away from me here by car, and they're doing all right. They're up in a village in the mountains. They're not under any immediate threat as far as we can tell. They've got access to everything they need. They have their house. We can stay in touch by video messenger, and everything's good. We check in with each other every few days. They're worried about me and the kids here, obviously, and my wife. I'm worried about them because they're getting on. They're approaching their 80s now. They're in that group, which is most at threat from the coronavirus. So of course I'm worried about them and my parents. Why am I not going to be in there? They're older now. But we stay in touch. We make sure everything is okay. And we were talking about, you see, my parents are from the much maligned generation known as the boomers, who everybody below the age of 40 seems to despise at this moment in time. And you may remember I did that article a few days ago. I'm losing track of the time. Good God, honestly, I remember today's Sunday only barely. I wrote an article about we who chased the streetlights home some point last week, one day last week at some point, I can't remember, and talking about me as a Gen Xer, as I am. And it is interesting when you see the skill sets and the attitudes predominant in my parents' generation, and that attitude they taught us and they inculcated into us from an early age. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Grin and bear it. If it's inconvenient, it could be worse. If you don't need it, don't buy it. And to be self-sufficient. To me, I chuckle at the odd things here and there of people panicking about the inability, their favorite restaurant having to close and them not being able to order takeaway food from it. I do not honestly remember the last time I had takeaway food. I honestly don't remember. I think it was about 6 months ago. I couldn't honestly tell you. I'm used to, and my wife is from a culture, she's Dominican, of basically improvising your food with what you've got. We are eating basically at the moment, we don't have as much variety of foods in our diet as we would normally have, but we're not exactly going hungry. I'm a skinny bugger, as you may well see. I appear to be one of these people who doesn't eat very much, but I can assure you I do. I probably eat more than my wife and the largest of my two daughters combined, quite easily. I probably eat more than anyone else in the house does individually. But I've got that metabolism, which is not getting much use at the moment because I used to cycle to and from work, and now I walk to the bathroom and then walk back to come to work, or I walk to the kitchen to get coffee and come back. It's not quite as physically demanding, I can tell you, but it's safer. But this sort of attitude is that I see the way things are in the world right now, and yes, it's a bugger. Yes, I would love to take the girls to the park. Yes, I would love to go out. Yes, I would love to mix with my colleagues at work and have that routine, but I can't. And what is going to happen if I don't want that? It is going to continue the same, and I'm going to be more frustrated about it. Oh yeah, here's one of their favorite dolls. Say hi. Anyway, so just for a bit of comedic element there. That's the thing. And you know what? We'll get to that in a moment. I'll come back to that, and I'll come back to a few other things. But under this current crisis, it's really determining. It's changing our thought processes because we're in this situation we have no control over. We've no way of influencing it. We've got no way to argue against the measures that our governments are putting into place. Because if we don't follow it, what happens? Nothing. We either get sick ourselves or the people we care about get sick. And we've just got to deal with that. Things are weird. Going out yesterday and seeing all the shops closed, no one on the streets, or people crossing the streets when they saw me and pulling their masks up, or going to the stores and there not being as much variety as I would normally get, or having to shop more often in smaller quantities because we're going out individually rather than in a group. Our trick used to be we'd take the girls in the pushchair, nice big double pushchair, or stroller, or whatever you would like to call it, and we'll be able to hang shopping bags on the back of the stroller that would take the weight and counterbalance their weight. Now it's in the hands. He or she who can carry what they can. So we're buying smaller quantities more regularly because we can only go individually. Those are the restrictions they put in the shops in Spain, that you cannot enter in groups, you can enter as an individual, and you are limited. You have to wait outside until somebody leaves before you can enter, and so forth. But we're adapting to it. We're stuck in the house together. We are not fighting. We're not arguing. We're just getting on with our own thing. I come and do my videos. I come and do some writing. I work when I'm scheduled to work. All those sorts of things. And I'm spending an inordinate amount of time on Twitter and other social media than I perhaps normally would. I'm a little more active than I would be. And it's not a bad thing, but it's also, through these interactions, led me to think about a number of very important things. And that's, in a roundabout way, is what I wanted to touch on today. I know, and I'm looking at you, I know these videos, my posts, my blog posts, my updates on my website mean an awful lot to you, I know that there's one person to whom I am speaking directly when I'm making these videos, one person whose heart I touch with my messages, and to whom my opinions carry weight. I know there's one of you, at least. I know there's more of you than that. But in this world where we're looking at ourselves as, budding artists, budding writers, future famous people, there's one thing we focus on, which perhaps we should not. Look at Twitter, for example. Twitter, everyone is looking at having X amount of followers, X amount of engagement. To have so many people a day liking their tweets and their follower count going over the 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 100 billion followers. And of course, those are all numbers, yes. But look at it this way. Someone once told me, and I won't mention his name, but he knows about this, I believe. He says, when you're writing your book, you're writing it for one person. And when you find success as an author, you're writing it for 1 million one persons. You are selling to an individual. And it just so happens that when you're a famous author, there's a higher number of individual people reading your book. But you're writing, you're creating, you are sharing that creation for one single person. Because nobody in this world reads a book in group unless you're reading to your children, and even then they're listening and looking at the pictures while you read. So one individual to whom your work is important is all you need to be aiming at. I've years and years ago when I was at school did a bit of drama, a bit of stage work. It was nothing good. I'm not a great actor. I really am not. But my tutor told me then, when you're on stage and you're looking at those lights, you can't see anyone, but if you can see a crowd, you address your performance to one person. Because if you do that, every person in the audience is going to think you're addressing it to them. And it's the same thing with art and writing. You may only have one follower. You may only have one person who regularly retweets your tweets, who regularly likes them, who shares your Facebook posts, who comments upon them. But that one person, even if they're an audience of one, is better than an audience of none. And to that person, your posts, what you share, your work means an awful lot to them. And this is what I'm trying to say. Instead of going for thousands and thousands of followers, and instead of worrying about increasing your numbers, worry about the people who already pay attention to what you write, who already enjoy your work, and focus on them, because that loyal base, those people who like you, who are fans, I suppose. I find it hard to imagine that I could have fans. I'm just little me. Who would be a fan of me? Me with my messy hair and my poor fashion choice and this awful green bedspread behind me and trademark named dolls who are here sharing this with me. Hello, yes, hello. Yes, I am breaking copyright. I'm infringing copyright here at the moment. But this little fella, to my daughters don't know who she is. They just think she's cool, and to them, she's worth fighting over. They don't know that she's some big, made-up megastar with her drawers out. Excuse me for decency, Minnie, behave yourself. They don't know that this beloved mouse here, with extremely huge eyelashes, is anyone special. But to them, she is, because she's theirs. And they will fight over this one. There's another one around somewhere. Obviously, when you have twins, you have to buy two of everything. To them, this mouse is vitally important because it belongs to them. And that's what I'm trying to say and illustrate. Your work, your posts, the things that you say and do and share, which resonate with those people who loyally read everything you write, and they may not comment, They may not speak, but you will see them if you check your traffic, that they're always there. If, like me, you have an app on your phone which shows the traffic going to and from your website and where it's coming from, you'll see that the same town keeps showing, or the same part of the world, and you know it's them. They will check out your website, your blog, your feed every single day. And they may, and even if they don't comment on what you write, they will read it, and to them it will mean something. They will watch this video I'm recording now, and it will mean something to them. I don't know what it means to them, but to them, to you, it matters. And that's the thing you need to get in your head as a writer, that once you start sharing your stuff out in the world, once you start distributing, once you start letting other people see it, it ceases to be yours and it becomes theirs. And that's why I always pass out. And I know maybe because of nervousness, of anxiety, of shyness, that's maybe one of the reasons you don't comment. But tell me, and I will listen to you. Tell me what you would like to see, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to. I'm sharing with you. I am sharing my vision and making it yours. So if there's anything you'd like to see in it, please tell me what that is, and I will gladly come up with an idea. And it's the same for all of you other creatives out there. You have to remember that you are not writing for you anymore. The second you share that in a public or social media, it ceases to become exclusively yours. The second that other people become interested in it and enjoy it, it ceases to become yours. That's why I keep mentioning when I'm out there that, the Chronicles of Enoch, that is my current work, is bigger than me. And it is. Because the excerpts I share, the Preludes of Enoch, which is out there, and I apologize, I need to push harder on that to get the anniversary edition ready. The books of the Chronicles of Enoch, the 5 books, when they are ready, they mean something to me. I convey that when I write and how I write. But you, when you read it, your life experience is different to mine. Your background is different to mine. Your culture probably is different to mine. Your gender, your identity, those things which are valuable in your life differ to mine. You will have experiences that are different to mine. To you, the other writers out there, your readers will have different experiences, backgrounds, and everything to yours. What means one thing to you will mean something quite significantly different to them. Me, for example, in the Chronicles of Enoch, we have a very ethnically diverse cast. We have Sable, an ancient Nephilim from the dawn of time. We have, excuse me, we have a few Puerto Rican and Dominican ladies. We have a South Korean gentleman who isn't. We have several African Americans, Irish background. We have Jewish characters. We have an autistic young fellow. Everything like that. We have a mixed race family that he comes from. And to me, those people are there because that's what those characters felt like they should be. And that's what they became. And it's what suited them. And I lived in Atlanta, where the Chronicles of Enoch are, at least in book 1, predominantly set. They're set between Albuquerque, New Mexico in the United States, and Atlanta, Georgia, and its environs in the United States, because they're the 2 parts of America I spent the most time in when I lived there. And they reflect what I saw on the streets. I met Puerto Ricans, I met Dominicans, I met Cubans, I met other African American people, I met Jewish people, I met all kinds of people. I met Asian people, I met people from India, and they're all part of that tapestry, of that texture of Atlanta. It's one thing I loved about Atlanta. Albuquerque, New Mexico is very ethnically undiverse. There's a joke in Albuquerque that you're either a Mexican or you're white, and that's about it. I knew a handful of black people in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and none of them were originally from there. They'd moved from other parts of the country. So to me, putting in characters of that nature, of that ethnicity, of that gender, there's even a couple whose gender appears to be somewhat uncertain, or at least their identity of their gender appears to be uncertain. To me, they're just people that I've invented and who fit the story and whose characteristics fit their storyline. But let me say out there may be a troubled young lady, doesn't feel she fits in, is of mixed race, and is uncertain about her identity in the whole tapestry of gender. Larasta to her could mean an awful lot, and she could identify with her and see her as somewhat of a heroine and something to aspire to. But to me, she's just a person I made up who I like. You see what I'm saying here? Once you write, and once you create, and once you include representations of the kinds of people, and we are all people, we're all human beings, and this thing with the coronavirus, I personally believe is reinforcing that. That doesn't matter around the world, no matter which country we're from, which country we live in, and which country we were born to. We're discovering we're all humans, we're all suffering at the same, and we can all help each other. We're all going through the same things. Of me including the vast tapestry of human beings that exist out here in this world, just because they fit, means something to people who also identify with the characteristics my character displays. For people who felt they've been seen as a minority, who've seen as an outsider, of an outcast, of not being accepted, to see someone like them who is being accepted and who is achieving things means a lot. Even me myself, you may or may not have noticed that I do suffer from a bit of a lisp. I've had it my entire life. I can't get rid of it. I'm kind of at home with it. Me talking publicly and sharing my videos with what many would consider a speech impediment inspires people, perhaps, who have the same impediment. I suffer from dyspraxia in my youth. I still suffer from it. The fact that I'm pushing forward, and in spite of that somewhat disadvantage, it inspires people too. You who are watching may be watching from a wheelchair. You may have other aspects or characteristics that people consider to be a disadvantage or a disability. But other people who share those characteristics, those traits with you, seeing you sitting there, standing there, lying on your bed, standing on your head while you're doing it, will be inspired by that. You write about things that have challenged you. I know another coronavirus red alert. I'm expecting the guys in the white suits and the gas masks around any second, but I'm inside my house, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you're writing about challenges you have faced in your life, I know, and I apologize, I have been somewhat dismissive of the whole genre of memoir. But thinking about it, you inspire people who are going through circumstances you have written about, which are challenging, or were more than that at the time, inspires people that they too can get out of that abusive relationship. They can get out of that place they feel they're trapped, because I'll share this with you for free. I'm happily married now. I've been happily married I've been with my wife. We've been married just over a year. It'll be 2 years in October of this year, so a while away. We've not long celebrated our first anniversary. We've been together for close to 6 years before we got married, or including the anniversary of our first year of marriage. We've been together 6 years before that, close to. Before that, I fled America. I will admit it, I ran away from a very abusive partner. She was narcissistic, she was controlling, she had several mental issues, including dissociative identity disorder, and was, for me as a person, a danger to be around. And I fled that, and at the time, I was lucky, I managed to find a way out. But it took me 3 years, or at least a year towards the end, for me to find that way out. And for a long time, I could not see a way out. But I found it. You found it. You will find it. And that's the thing you need to focus on that's important. Just as you inspire others, let them inspire you. But if you have one single person who follows your posts, who reads your work, who does or does not comment, if you share videos or podcasts, one person who you are noticing, or one location you are noticing that regularly accesses your page, your podcast, your work, value that person, because you're just beginning, and as one person become 1 million individual persons, that one person has been there since the beginning, since you were nobody, since before you were famous, and that one person will probably be with you until the end. And they will read every word you write, listen to every sound you make, look at every image you take and create, and that person is more valuable than gold and diamonds in this world. And I personally, to finish off this video, I'm talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for your loyalty. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for allowing me to touch you with my words, with my images, with my thoughts. And thank you for always being there. I value you. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will continue writing from the day you first saw my work until the day I can write no longer, because you have given me faith in myself and in the rest of you out there. And actually, that was quite deep for today. But I am going to leave it there because I'm approaching my self-imposed limit of time. And maybe I'll be back tomorrow and working most of the week next week until fairly late. I do long shifts, but I'll find the time. I should not make excuses. I've been a little undermotivated this week with all the changes that have been happening, but I'm going to keep in touch with you guys, let you know what's going on, share my thoughts, share my ideas. And to be honest, it's a lot easier with my current circumstances to do video blogs than it is to actually sit down and write them, because I don't have to correct the spelling and everything like that, which is a lot easier, and format it and lay it out and put quotes, and I can just use my expressions to do that. So I might just, during the period of this crisis, keep my blog posts to the visual ones rather than the written down kind. But I'd like I say, I will be back as soon as I can. Thank you as ever for watching. Thank you everybody who enjoys it. I will try and start steering it more towards artist and writer oriented topics like I've done today, with a little bit of variation between. Please listen to your medical professionals, don't listen to your politicians. Stay safe, stay isolated, stay at home, and stay healthy. And please look after those in your family who are needy and vulnerable. But most of all, look after yourself, look after your immediate family, your spouses, your partners, your children. But most of all, when you feel you have to achieve and keep yourself occupied, look after yourself, because nobody else can do that for you, no matter how much they would like to try. And be safe. We will get past this. Look at the positives. Look at the things that it can change in our world for the better. But most of all, look in the mirror, because you're the person who needs to be looked after the most, because nobody else can do that for you. Now, this is Alan Fisher signing off. This is the end of the Art of the Storyteller episode for today. You guys take care. Bye-bye.